Welcome back, guys. It is your host here, Dustin, with the Seeing Red MMA podcast here. UFC Kansas City, Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen literally just ended maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. Got to jump on this right away because, wow, what a great main event that was. Max Holloway wins a unanimous decision against Arnold Allen in a 5-round main event. I had it going, you could give it 4-1, Max, because 4-1 Max. I think that first round was definitely Arnold's, but the rest of it was just a blessed express, man. I mean, you have an argument to say 3-2 because that fifth round could lean towards Arnold's way as well, too, so I could see how you could give it to Arnold Allen as well. But, man, just overall, what a great high-paced, technical matchup there that we got to see. Very exciting stuff there. I mean, let's just jump right into it. I mean, what does this mean for Max Holloway? I mean, he just beat a guy who's on a 10-fight win streak, who has never lost in the UFC. In his 11th outing, finally lost to probably one of the best fighters in that division ever, period. And it's a pretty good victory for Max because he is able to say, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still a top guy. I'm not washed or anything like that. I'm still one of the best fighters in the world, especially at 145 pounds. It just Volkanovski obviously has 3 wins against Max Holloway there, so it's just unfortunate for Max to be in that kind of situation. I mean, who knows? They might make a fourth fight depending if Yair beats or if Yair loses to Volkanovski and Max just maybe gets another win under his belt, maybe against like I don't know, Josh Emmett or something like that. I just don't see him rematching Yair or getting an immediate title shot after beating Arnold Allen. Even though it was a very good victory, it's one of those things where it's like you've lost to the guy 3 times. There needs to be some time in between the actual fights because he just lost to Volkanovski last year in July. So it's his first fight back since that loss there. So, I mean, I could see him maybe getting one more fight in and then getting a fourth fight against Volkanovski. And honestly, I mean, who knows how that would go. I mean, after the third fight, you would think that Volkanovski has his number, but who knows? This sport is crazy. The sport is insane. That's why we love it. That's why we watch it. But what does this mean for Arnold Allen as well, too? I mean, he's number 4, just lost to the number 2 ranked guy, arguably the best featherweight of all time, maybe behind Jose Aldo. And, I mean, Volkanovski's argument to be up there as well, too. I mean, I personally think Max Holloway is still considered to be greater than Volkanovski just because of the way he has won fights and things like that. Don't get me wrong, Volk has some fantastic wins, Korean Zombie, Ortega, the Max fights, so on and so forth there, and especially going up and daring for greatness against Islam Makhachev. But either way, Arnold Allen here, I mean, I could see him maybe getting a fight against like Josh Emmett or something like that, maybe a rematch with Calvin Kattar since that fight was kind of a fluke, or who knows, maybe he takes maybe a little bit downward turn towards the maybe lower ranked guys in the division. We'll see how Ilia Topuria does. He might get that kind of fight as well too. I would love to see Ilia Topuria versus Arnold Allen. That would be such a crazy fight to watch, but the story of this night is the Blessed Express keeps on moving on, and I'm very happy. If you're a Max Holloway fan, you're probably ecstatic right now like I am. And little inside baseball here. My fiance had Arnold Allen winning this fight here, and she bet me a hot and spicy. So I was like, bet, let's shake on it. So I get a free hot and spicy chicken sandwich from McDonald's out of this. So a win's a win in my book. But that was your main event there. Holloway returns, wins a 5-round unanimous decision. And, man, he really just was so much faster than Arnold. And, I mean, Arnold was able to land some shots there, but you could kind of tell in, like, certain scenarios Arnold was kind of getting confused and a little bit overwhelmed to where he kind of didn't know what to do. So, very nice of Holloway to be back on top. Now, your co-main event. Now, if you remember the last episode, I was very excited about this one. Edson Barboza versus Billy Quarantillo. Edson Barboza has still got it, man. He is old. He's been around forever, but, man, does he still got it. He lands a nasty knee up the middle against Billy while Billy was trying to throw that front kick or a push kick almost to overhand left or overhand right to dive in for a takedown, and Barboza just timed it beautifully. Just knee right up the middle, cracks Billy super hard there, puts him out. Billy was kind of confused at what happened, but I mean, the way he fell, he didn't get up until Barboza was way, way far away from there. But Barboza, he still got it, man. I mean, at his age, especially with a win like that, man, it's just such a good thing. It's kind of not necessarily speechless, but man, it is just so good to see Max Holloway win, Edson Barboza win, especially the way Edson Barboza did. And that KO there, I mean, it really does kind of put his name back into the conversation. I know he was number, I believe, 13 going into this fight. So, I mean, he's outside of the top 10, but still, there's some really good matchups here. I mean, I'd love to see him against like a Korean Zombie, two old vets going at it. I think that would be really, really fun to watch there, and I would love to watch that. But, yeah, I mean, sucks because I'm a big Billy Q fan as well, too. I mean, he was doing pretty well going into that fight. I mean, it only ended 2.5 minutes into the first round there, so it was kind of a quick finish, so we didn't get to see much of how this fight would have played out if it kept going, because we know Billy is a dog and he knows how to survive in there. But man, when your button gets touched like that, there's not really much you can do other than just lay down and take a dirt nap. But Billy will be back there. I mean, he's a staple of that division. I mean, he's a fan favorite. Everybody loves Billy Q. Barboza, though, man, good win for him. Very good win for him. Dustin Jacoby, that might be the worst display of fight IQ I've seen in a minute there. I mean, he was down 2 rounds against Mirzakhanov, Mirzakhanov. I think that's how you're saying. We'll call him Ov, O-V. But he was down 2 rounds against Ov. And in the third round, you could tell that Azamat was kind of slowing down here a little bit. He was kind of not really throwing the same volume of punches there or the same heat in his punches as he was in the earlier stages of the fight. So it was interesting to see Justin Jacoby kind of go for the takedowns in the fifth or in the third round there. I mean, especially because early into the third round, you could definitely see that there was a gas tank discrepancy. Dustin was landing a lot more fights there. A lot more strikes in the third round there. Starting to catch him. He was setting up that head kick over the top. I mean, I think Dustin could have got him out of there if he was a little bit more aggressive, but he was probably tired as well, too. I mean, no doubt you just were getting tagged left and right. He got dropped a couple of times, which is crazy to think because Jacoby's got a really good chin. And, I mean, besides Alex Pajeda, he doesn't really get dropped that often. And Mirzakhanov has some bombs in his hands. And, I mean, he got the unanimous decision. I mean, he won 2 out of the 3 rounds, in my opinion there. That third round was definitely Jacoby, but I just don't understand what his thought process was on, let me go for the takedowns here. Maybe get the takedown if he could and then ground and pound him out. But, I mean, you have a way better chance of finishing him on the feet when he's that tired and you're landing punches like that. I mean, he just looks so much more lethargic in that third round, Murazakhanov. And Jacoby was just, he has a more technical striker, so I could have seen him picking him apart and possibly getting a finish late in the third round there. But, I mean, kind of a weird fight. I like Dustin Jacoby. I just wish he kind of pulled it together there and got the win, but it is what it is. He'll be back. Another fight. This one was a little iffy on. Tanner Boser making his light heavyweight debut against Iwan Kutelaba, and now Kutelaba gets the first round TKO there, drops him with the big punch, and then up against the fence finishes him off with kind of these hard punches while Boser was trying to get to his feet. Now, if you ask me, I mean, yes, the ref stopped Boser from getting any more damage done to him. I agree with that. I mean, if you can spare a fighter's health and have him fight longer, especially if he's exciting like Boser, I'm all for it. Do I think it was maybe a little early? Yeah, I mean, you could have let Boser go out there a little bit more. I mean, he could have taken a little bit more strikes, let him at least separate a little bit, see how he did. But Kutelaba was all over him once he dropped him. And this is kind of one of those fights where Kutelaba had to win there because he's been on a bit of a skid as of lately. So he definitely needed that win there. It's a big TKO win in the first round. So he's probably on cloud 9 right now, as you could tell by his post-fight interview. He was super hyped up, but I digress as well. I mean, sucks for Tanner Boser for his debut at light heavyweight to get finished like that, especially when, in my opinion, don't roast me in the comments, I thought it might have been a little early, but that's just me. Now, this is a fight we were all looking forward to. Pedro Munoz versus Chris Gutierrez. Now, this went all 3 rounds there. Pedro definitely won the majority of that fight there. I pretty much had Pedro winning all 3 rounds, especially that first round when he dropped Gutierrez with that left hook and then just kind of stayed on top of him till the end of the first round. And then round 2 was just pressuring him a lot more, landing a lot of leg kicks there, pumping the jab. I mean, Gutierrez wasn't out of this fight, don't get me wrong. I mean, it was still competitive, but Pedro Munoz definitely won that fight, in my opinion there. I mean, really good win for him. He was another guy who definitely needed the win under his belt, especially coming off of the no contest to Sugar Sean, and then the losses previous to that as well, too. Is definitely kind of do or die for Pedro Munoz because, I mean, no slaps to Gutierrez. I mean, you lose to number 13 when you're ranked number 9. That definitely puts you outside the top 10, so that at least keeps him in the conversation. I'd like to see him maybe against the winner of Song Yadong versus Ricky Simon. I think that's a good fight for him, and it matches up stylistically very well. So hopefully we get that fight because we know whoever wins that one is going to be swinging and banging because Ricky Simon and Song Yadong, they throw leather. Rafa Garcia opened up the main card, beating Clay Guida with a 3-round decision. Man, he really pieced up Clay Guida there. I mean, we were watching that, and he was just landing pretty much that right hand most of the night. I mean, Clay Guida obviously has that gas tank, so he just kept coming and coming and coming. But Garcia, he was really sharp with those hands there, really know how to place him on the chin. And Guida's just so tough that, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's Guida. He's been fighting since I was in, I think, like, elementary school, like 5th, 6th grade. So, I mean, always good to see the Carpenter. Now, he did have us there for a second there. After when DC was interviewing Garcia, you could see Guida with his gloves off in the background. And Cormier goes over, Guida, are you retiring? And he goes, no, I'm just trading my gloves with Rafa. We're going to trade gloves after this fight here. So he had us there for a second. I'm pretty sure me and most of the community watching that were thinking that Guida was about to retire, which I'm glad he didn't. I think you give him a veterans matchup against Jim Miller at UFC 300. I think that's the type of fight you want with 2 veterans like that in the sport, especially in that weight class. I think he set the record for most fight time, too. I think he surpassed Jim Miller as well. About 6 hours and I think it was like almost 7 hours total fight time or something like that. Because when he passed it, it was 6 hours and 47 minutes. And it went all 3 rounds, and that was about, I think, in the middle of the second round. So I believe he may have hit 7 minutes there. My math is right, but who knows? He might have just got under 7 hours there. But still, 7 hours of octagon time, that's a crazy number to have. That's a crazy stat. You've been fighting forever, man. And even when I met him when I was like 13, back in the UFC, what was it called? International Fight Week. It was Silva versus Sun and 2. What's the name of the thing? I'm blanking. Hold on. Let me get a sip of this. What was the name of that? I don't know. I forget the name of it. Was it the UFC Expo? I was about to say the Expo thing that the UFC does. Yeah, the UFC Expo. Got to meet him, get an autograph from him, got a picture, a Polaroid. Didn't turn the flash on, so it's not a great picture. Then you got the last fight on the prelims, Bill Allegio versus TJ Brown. Man, that was a real kind of dogfight there. I mean, they were throwing hard. They were throwing heavy leather back and forth there. Bill Allegio eventually gets the rear naked choke submission in the second round there. Good for him. I mean, I know he just lost his mother, so condolences to the Allegio family. But congratulations on the big win as well, too, especially against a tough guy like TJ Brown there. And, I mean, they were all smiles in that cage. You know they love fighting. You know that's what they do. So good to see 2 guys who just love fighting go out there and actually fight like they love fighting. So great fight for that guy. I mean, great win as well, too. But this is my highlight on the prelims. The fight before that, Brandon Royval with the first round knee up the middle TKO against Mateus Nicolau. And man, Brandon Royval, he's a nasty dude, man. He's so creative. He's so long and rangy for that division. I mean, he's skinny, but he's big for that division too. And he was able just to kind of pump the jab there and then just throw that knee right up the middle and clip Nicolau right on the chin there. Put him out with strikes on the ground after that. And he wanted to be the backup for the Pantoja versus Brandon Moreno fight, which, hey, I'd love to see that as well, too. I mean, if he wants to be the backup, all for it. But I think he's your next title contender. I mean, with the win like that, number 4 versus number 5, when Moreno needs new fighters, I mean, he's already going to be rematching Pantoja, who's beat him twice. If Moreno wins again, cool. Give him Brandon Royval. If Pantoja wins, who knows? Brandon Moreno might get an immediate rematch. We don't know. I mean, flyweight's kind of weird, especially with that weird quadrilogy that he had with Figgy. But I think Brandon Royval, if he ends up being the backup and he doesn't end up fighting on International Fight Week, I think he should be the one that gets the next title shot at 125. Great fight, great finish. Now this was a slobber knocker here. I mean, this is just two old vets just going at it. Zach Cummings versus Ed Herman. Zach Cummings with the late third round stoppage, TKO against Ed Herman, and I think this is the first time it's happened. I think they mentioned that on the broadcast as well too, that Zach Cummings and Ed Herman, they both retired tonight. This is both of their last MMA fights here. It was a double retirement fight. Took the bow in the center of the cage, and pretty emotional interview from both of them there. I mean, Zach Cummings had his daughter come in the cage there, and he was crying, hugging his daughter after he got a big win in his retirement fight. And Ed Herman, I mean, the guy's been fighting forever. I think he was on season 3 of The Ultimate Fighter, which is crazy to think of. He's been fighting so long. But both those guys retiring here. I mean, unfortunately, someone had to lose, and it was Ed Herman, but good to see Zach Cummings coming back and getting the dub. This is kind of an interesting one here. I saw this one because, I was kind of driving home from work when this happened, but Jillian Robertson gets a submission over Pero Rodriguez in the second round via armbar, but it was kind of a weird one because the ref stopped it, but you could make the argument that she one-tapped, like, when she was in the armbar. It wasn't like a definitive, I'm tapping. So, I mean, I feel for Rodriguez there because it didn't look like a full-on tap, and it looked like she maybe could have done something to get out of it, roll to her back, do a back roll, get on the bottom there, circle around, get on top. But Jillian Robertson, I mean, the submission queen at strawweight there, just submission, just does the damn thing. And, I mean, she got the second round armbar, good for her, but sucks for Rodriguez there because I kind of agree with her that wasn't a full-on tap. Even though she may have tapped, and as she was tapping, maybe the pressure got let go. Who knows? Only she does, but just kind of sucks that it ended that way. Fight before that, you got Lando Venata versus Daniel Zellhuber. Now, this was a really good fight here, too, because, I mean, Zellhuber is big for lightweight. I mean, he's tall, long, and rangy, and he was popping Lando left and right. I mean, he had him hurt. I think it was was it the second round, I believe? I think it was the second round. But it was a good fight for Zellhuber to get a win over a veteran like Venata there and really kind of show off his striking skill against a guy who is known for his flashy striking. So big win for that guy, big for the division. I could see good things coming out of that man. Unfortunately, Bruna Brasil from the Dana White Contender Series, who got that nasty head kick KO, was on the receiving end of a KO. She needs to work on her defense a little bit because she got hit with a left hook to the body, to the right hand upstairs, and her chin was right up in the air there, right for the picking. And, yeah, she got pretty much dropped and finished in that second round there. Good for Denise Gomez, though. I mean, that's a big win for her. I mean, Bruna had a lot of hype coming off the Contender Series. Sucks that it had to end that way, therefore, but it's like a learning experience. So you go back and watch that fight, and you start seeing your mistakes that you made, and her biggest mistake was, I kind of kept my chin up there a little bit too much. Not a good look. Aaron Phillips and Gaston Bolanos, that was a great fight there. I mean, they were just going back and forth, and I mean, I gave the fight to Gaston there. He wins a unanimous decision, but it's a very good fight for both of these guys. I know Peru doesn't really have many fighters coming out of it, especially in the UFC there, so big win for a guy like him to kind of put Peru on the map. But Aaron Phillips, no slouch either. I mean, he had Bolanos' back in the third round as well too, but wasn't enough to get the job done. Big win for him. And to open up the fight, or the fight night, Jocelyn Edwards versus Lucy Puldova. Split decision for Jocelyn Edwards there. I was at work when this fight was going on, so I didn't really get to see much of what happened in this, but split decision there. So Jocelyn Edwards, she's kind of been silently collecting these wins at bantamweight there. I mean, did she miss weight? I don't know if she missed weight. I'm not going to look it up either because don't care that much. But if she can get that weight cut under control and keep collecting just these quiet wins, she can have a real big career behind her. But that was your UFC Fight Night card in Kansas City tonight. Max Holloway gets back on the winning track there with the unanimous decision over the always tough Arnold Allen. Edson Barbosa lands a hellacious knee against Billy Quarantillo, entering into the pocket there, trying to go for a takedown. Dustin Jacoby made Michael Chandler look like a scholar with the low IQ that he displayed in the end of that third round. I hope he works on that. I hope he realizes, hey, I'm this good of a striker. I've kickboxed in glory. I fought Pajeda. Let me use that striking that got me here to the dance, that got me all these wins. So, sucks for him. Iwan Cutelaba gets another win here. He's back in the win column with the first round TKO against Tanner Boser. Pedro Munoz wins a unanimous decision after dropping Gutierrez early in the first round. Clay Guida loses a unanimous decision against Rafa Garcia. Bill Allegio, TJ Brown. Brandon Royval with the nasty knee. Again, that nasty knee. The long rangey, always fun to watch. Brandon Royval with the nasty knee. I'll say it over and over again. I love me some Brandon Royval. Give him the title shot. I don't care if people don't think he deserves it. It's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, that's your card, though. I'll get this out here tonight, but very solid card here. Just top to bottom, full of fun fights, start to finish here. So, yeah, I mean, if you like the videos, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at SeeingRedMMA. And you guys have yourself a great rest of your day. Bye now.